Indivisible, the action RPG platformer that was released on October 8th of 2019 on everything but the Nintendo Switch. It was a long wait for Switch owners to get their hands on this game, as we went months without hearing on its progress. Well, eventually it was shadow dropped at the end of April on the eShop, and they did such a great job keeping it a secret that even the developers themselves didn't know the game had released. Yeah, so before we start the review, I have to address the game's release because this did affect the game when I played it in the beginning. The game was released without the knowledge of the developers due to a mix-up in communication, and so the game was bound to have a few issues. I mean, the game was probably 95% ready when it released, but it still consisted of some glitches, like certain sprites not appearing properly to this happening. So this is what it's like to own a Wii U. Now, luckily a patch has been released, fixing a lot of these issues and allowing for a smoother playthrough of the game. But despite all this, I was still very excited for the game, so without further ado, let's get this review going. This game is all about a girl named Ajna, who lives with her father in a remote village called Ashwat. She starts out her day heading over to train with her father, and I have to say, these two get along so well.
Not bad, huh?
I expect better.
You expect better? Who says that to their kid?
I just want you to improve, Ajna. You'll never reach your full potential if you don't listen.
I listen.
Ajna, calm down.
No, I'm coming all the way up.
Oh wow, that was pretty intense, but I think I can help out with a little segment I like to call... Wait, what? We've been cancelled? This is awkward. Anyways, their argument eventually led to Ajna's dad leaving back to the village alone, which turns out to be a big mistake as an enemy attacks the village and Ajna's father gets killed by a man named Dar. Ajna, now looking to avenge her father, fights against Dar until somehow Ajna traps Dar in her mind. He is unable to leave nor hurt Ajna now, but he does tell her about the one responsible for giving the order to have her father killed. And from that, Ajna decides to begin her journey to avenge her father. And that's all I'll say about the game's story, but from there on she will continue to fight against other enemies and she'll meet new people to accompany her. But overall, I really did enjoy the game's story, from the introduction of the later characters, the progression of Ajna herself during the journey, and just finding out what happens as everything continues. However, as much as I like the story, one of the reasons I really like this game is just the overall gameplay. The game has a variety from platforming in different locations to the combat in the game. In terms of platforming, you have different skills and weapons that you learn and receive over time to help you get through the stages. But the combat is another story, and I really like the combat in this game. When you get into a battle, you have a max of 4 characters that fight, and each character has a set amount of attacks charged for them to use, as indicated next to the health bar. To use an attack, you press the button indicated for the character you want to use and they will initiate their attack. Depending on the character, holding the left joystick up will indicate using an aerial attack, while holding it down will indicate using a ground attack. If all their attacks are used, you will have to wait for them to recharge so they can go again. When it comes to shielding your characters when the enemy attacks, you just press the appropriate button for that character and they will be shielded. Then you keep pressing the button if the enemy attacks more than once. Finally, as you attack the enemy and keep shielding the enemy's attacks, this bar on the upper screen will indicate that you can use an ultimate attack, and there are different levels of the attack depending on how much you fill the bar. Overall, I think what I like about the game's combat is that it's not exactly easy. As a man who played turn-based RPGs for years, this was definitely different. You just had to think about when it was best to attack, who should be attacking or supporting other characters, timing the shields to deal less damage from the enemies, and all of this without looking up the definition of the word turn. Finally, we just have to talk about the game's graphics, because they are just simply beautiful. The overall art style is amazing, from the character designs, locations, and even the backgrounds during battle. The character animations are all smooth, and all the cutscenes really depict the emotion and intensity of a situation in great detail. The game itself runs very smoothly and offers a wonderful experience no matter if you're playing it docked or in handheld. So I have to say, overall, I felt very satisfied with how this game turned out. Though this game did come out everywhere else back in 2019, I have to say the Switch version is still worth getting. The game just takes full advantage of the Switch, playing and running it incredibly in handheld mode, which is how I played it the whole way. It's just a wonderful game to play, both on the big screen and on the go, and I was very satisfied with the outcome. The music is also magnificent, but I have to admit, my personal favorites were all at the beginning of the game. Also, this game is missing a couple things, including the latest DLC, but it shouldn't be long till it arrives, and even without it, there is still much fun to have with this game. So there you go, Indivisible for the Nintendo Switch. It was quite a pain waiting for this game to actually come out, but once it came out, I was actually very satisfied with how the game turned out, and honestly, it was a pretty amazing experience. However, what I'm not satisfied about is the fact that I couldn't figure out what I was supposed to do earlier, and how is it that this game keeps finding its way into my videos?